Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm really glad you could join me. I've got a little bit different video for you today. I don't normally do stuff like this, but I've been collecting a few different ebooks on my Kindle over the summer, and so I wanted to do a Kindle book haul just to kind of let you know what I've been picking up, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes. But before I do, I wanted to let you know that I recently got together with the guys at Geek on My Sleeve. We did film a special event video to do a fan casting for Mistborn. So, if you haven't already seen it, it went live on Wednesday, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I'll leave a link to it in the cards at the end of the video too, so that you can see that video, because I think you're going to have just as much fun as we did making it, and I'm really glad that those guys joined me to make that happen. So check that out, and always continue to stay tuned. Most of the time I do videos just on Fridays, but every now and again I have a special video that goes live during the week as well. So don't be surprised if you see more of that from me in the near future. And with that being said, let's get to the Kindle book haul. Now, I just kind of want to reiterate my practice around the Kindle. I really do love to read physical books, but it's not always practical. And I am a minimalist as well, so I try not to go overboard on filling my bookshelf with physical books, because if I do that, then I have to buy more bookshelves, which isn't really practical, and I really don't need to. So I made the decision a while back to purchase most of the books that are in a long series on Kindle, and save my library, my physical library, for books that are really, really extra special to me, maybe favorite authors like Neil Gaiman. I own almost all of his books in physical copies, and a few other choice books too, like The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. So having a select few of my favorite books on my bookshelf is important to me. But when it comes to a longer series, especially for some series that aren't finished, like the Song of Ice and Fire series, things like that, I'm pretty much planning to stick to having those on Kindle, partly because I can buy them immediately when they come out if they're instant buy authors, and also it takes up less space, especially for the Stormlight Archive books, because those things are chunkers. I love Brandon Sanderson. He's one of my favorite authors, but those things are chunkers. Take up a lot of space. So, yeah, that's my plan going forward. So, every once in a while, if I see a good deal on a Kindle book, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to snatch that up. And I know it can all add up, but in most cases, ebooks, especially if they're books that have been around for a while, tend to be cheaper than buying the physical copies. So I look at it as a way to save money and still build my library. So that was a very long-winded introduction to what I'm about to share with you. This probably won't take as long as my introduction did, but hey, let's go for it, right? One thing I will let you know, that I did collect more books over the summer on Kindle than what I'll be telling you about today, but some of them are electronic copies of books I already own and I've already read, but I know I want to own them and reread them in the future. So I'm not going to go into those, but I am going to tell you about books that I purchased that I have not read yet. There's one that I have already started reading, and I'll tell you about that one now. And that is The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest by Stieg Larsson. This is the third book in the Millennium Trilogy, And if you're familiar with the girl with the dragon tattoo, it's been made into a couple of different movies, one in Europe and one in the US. And the books are just phenomenal. And, I got to the end of book 2 and I'm like, I can't continue on not knowing what happened. So I snagged the ebook. I already had the first 2 books on Kindle anyway, so I completed the set, and I got it and I started reading it, and I absolutely love it. I'm just really, really engrossed in that book. So that is the first book on my list. The next one is a book by Agatha Christie called And There Were None. And Then There Were None. Which is it? I'm not sure. I think it's And Then They Were None. And I think when it was originally released, it was called 10 Little Indians. I can't remember. But I love Agatha Christie, and I've been wanting to reread more of her books. And she's written so many books that the most practical way for me to do that is to buy them on Kindle, because it's just such a long, drawn-out series. And it's not just one detective that she writes. She writes several different detectives. She probably wrote 40, 50 books. I don't know. But so yeah, I got that one. I'm pretty excited to read that one in the future. And if you're an Agatha Christie fan too, let me know in the comments. We can geek out together over Agatha Christie. I do love a good mystery, and she's one of my favorites. So the third book is The Crystal Shard. It's the first book, technically, in the Legend of Drizzt. And if you're not familiar with Drizzt, it's a part of the Forgotten Realms, part of the overarching D&D mythos, Dungeons and Dragons. And it follows Drizzt Do'Urden, who is a dark elf, and The Crystal Shard is technically the first book that introduces Drizzt, written by R.A. Salvatore, but it's book 4 in the entire plot line of that story. So it's kind of like Star Wars. You have the prequels, and then you have the original trilogy. And even though the original trilogy starts with episode 4, it's technically the beginning of the saga, if that makes sense. And The Legend of Drizzt is the same way. The Crystal Shard is technically book 4, but that's kind of where you're first introduced to his character. And a lot of people recommend that you start off with that book as opposed to getting into book 1 of The Legend of Drizzt, because then it goes and kind of spoils some of those other books. So that's what I plan to do. I plan to read them in publication order and see what Drizzt is all about. I've heard good things. I've always wanted to read Drizzt. I just haven't. So it's going on my TBR because it is now on my Kindle. So yes, there you have it. So this is kind of a funny one. I recently picked up Anansi Boys by Neil Gaiman on Kindle. And I already own it. I haven't read it yet, but I own the physical copy. And I was just looking through books on the Kindle store, and Amazon has that really weird thing where you can click to insta buy a book, and I accidentally hit the button and it bought the book. I'm like, wait, no, I didn't want to do that. Luckily it was on sale, so that's a good thing, but I didn't intend to do it. But I'm like, well, no Kindle can have too much Neil Gaiman on it, so I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, I'll go ahead and just keep it, and that way, if I'm ever traveling or whatever and I decide to read Anansi Boys, I can pick it up. And if you're not familiar with Anansi Boys, if you've heard of American Gods, if you read the book or you've seen the TV show, Anansi Boys is kind of it's kind of an American Gods 1.5. It continues a side story about some of the characters in American Gods. So I'm really excited to read that one. So stay tuned. I will eventually get back to finishing all of Neil Gaiman's books. The next one I picked up was Leviathan Wakes. This is the first book in the Expanse series. And my girlfriend and I have been watching through the Expanse series on Amazon Prime, and oh my goodness, guys, it is so good. I can't get enough of it. And I've really been wanting to read the books. And I understand that they are pretty hard sci-fi. But that's okay. If the TV show is that good, the books have to be just as good and probably better. So I'm going to at least give it a shot and see what I think of the Expanse series as a book series. So Leviathan Wakes was one of the books I picked up. I'm pretty excited about it. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This has been on my TBR for a while, and I found it on sale, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So doesn't hurt. It's on sale. I think it was like $1.99, so I snagged it, and I'm pretty excited to check it out and see what she's all about. I've never read any of her books, and I'm very excited to see what's going on in that book series. I've read the premise and it sounds really cool. There's 3 or 4 alternate Londons, and each of them have a different color to them, and it's just a really unique and interesting magic system, it sounds like. So I'm on board, and now I have it on my Kindle. So yeah. Blood of Elves is technically the 3rd book in the Witcher saga by Andrzej Sapkowski. And I read the first book, The Last Wish, and it was fantastic. I just absolutely loved it. And of course I loved the TV show on Netflix. But I have not read the second book, which is Sword of Destiny, but it's been on my list of books that I want to read this year. And I was hopefully planning on getting to Blood of Elves this year too. So I found Blood of Elves on sale. I decided to pick it up and add it to my collection. But now I need to get Sword of Destiny so I can read that first. And the season 2 of The Witcher will be coming out probably sometime next year. So I want to be prepared by having read both of those books and be ready for the TV series. So yeah, that's one of the books I picked up this summer. Rage of Dragons. And why can I not think of the author's name? Oh, yes. Evan Winter. I don't know why I forgot his name. How silly of me. Yeah. So I picked up Rage of Dragons. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And I had seriously considered bumping it up onto my TBR for this year just because I'm so excited to read it. So I'll let you know if that actually ends up happening. And yeah, I can't wait to read it. So I found it on sale and I snagged it for my Kindle. And Kindle's a little bit too convenient for snagging great deals, especially if they're books you know you definitely want to read. So yeah, be careful with that. But I'm not as careful as I probably should be. Yeah, I know. But hey, let's move on. The next one is Blood Rights. It is book 6 in the Dresden Files series. And I've been slowly collecting the Dresden Files books, even though I haven't read all of them yet. I haven't read book 5, which I do have on my Kindle, and then I can move on to book 6, and I've collected some of the others as well. Usually because I find them on sale, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab that because I love Dresden, and I know I'm going to want to complete the series. So, yeah, I picked up book 6 in the series. That was kind of one that I had a hole for because I had book 5 and book 7 and 8, but I didn't have 6. So I kind of completed that arc or that series, whatever you want to call it. I'm tired. And the final one, guys, is the Chasing Graves saga by Ben Galley. And Ben Galley has been an author that I have heard very, very good things about. I've been wanting to read his book called Heart of Stone. It was a really, really high bestseller, and he's a self-published author. And so I've had that on my list for a while, and his trilogy, Chasing Graves, I think it's more of a sci-fi series. But anyway, he had put the entire series on sale for 99 cents, or maybe it was free. I don't think it was free, though. I think it was 99 cents. I'm like, okay, well, that's just a ridiculous buy. And how can I pass that up? You see my problem. I find these sales on Kindle, and sometimes if it's an author I've heard of and I've heard good things of, even if I haven't read any of their stuff, if it's a good enough deal, I might just pick it up. I know that's a problem. But it was cheap. And, my book budget loves cheap. So, let me know what you think in the comments, guys, about my ridiculous Kindle spending sprees and various other little anomalies. Let me know what you think of my book haul for Kindle. Have you read any of these books? Have you been on the fence about them too? Are you as bad as I am about snatching up deals on Kindle or other ebook readers? Maybe you are on a different ebook service, and that's cool too. Let me know what you think. I haven't looked into Kindle Unlimited yet. I've been really on the fence about it. I don't know if I really want to go that route, because not all books are on Kindle Unlimited, and especially probably some of the books that I would normally read might not be on Kindle Unlimited. So, but as much as I like to read, maybe it would be worthwhile. Who knows? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you do all this stuff up here. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Help me out there, folks. If you want to support me on Patreon, here's the link right here on the screen. And make sure you check out the description below my video so that you can see other links that I provide, what's happening. You can find all manner of different links to use to find me on social medias and support me. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can. There's ways down there that you can just send me a random gift for coffee. And, well, I don't drink coffee. I like tea. I like herbal tea. And yeah, and I buy other things if I go to a coffee place too. So I like pastries. Pastries, yes. I'm a lover of sugar. And now I'm just rambling on and on and on. So, guys, make sure that you are reading more books. I will see you in my next video. Oh, and hey, wait, there's one more thing I forgot to tell you. This weekend, I am going to be geeking out with the guys over at Geek on My Sleeve again over Dune. And I just cannot wait to join in that conversation with them, because I'm a huge Dune fan. And we will be tackling the first book, the original book, the epic saga that is Dune. And as you probably know, the trailer for the new movie released yesterday, and oh my god, so exciting. So yeah, stay tuned for my next videos, read more books, check out my Geek Out on Sunday with Geek on My Sleeve. I'll talk to you in the next video, guys. Have a great one. Bye.